move my clamps around. I got a couple smaller pieces of scrap in this seam to give us a little more precise. So you can see we're off down here just because we have it clamped here. But that'll be okay because we're gonna give this a couple tacks. I've gone ahead and just knocked it together with the hammer where it feels flush here. It's pretty dang close. We'll tap this side. All right, so we got those little taps on there. Now they might break off, possibly. And what we'll do is we'll try to do the same thing down here. Squeeze it together with some vice grips. Okay. Then we'll bang it around a little bit. That feels really good. And then we'll measure it. We should be, that's 11 1/4. 11 1/4 and one little mark, whatever that is. What's that, Mrs. L?
I gotta go to the store.
Okay. I think we're gonna have a problem. Well, I tell you what, for what it's worth, sometimes you don't know these things until you start doing stuff. This may prove to be more difficult than I anticipated. Now, I know this one is tweaked a little bit. I'm just gonna tack it. We just gotta check something here. Tack this side. Not gonna tack it that heavy because I got a feeling that we're gonna have to take this thing back apart. Now I know my bench top here isn't perfectly flat, but we're better than that. And I know these bulges aren't exactly the same, but they're better. Let me go check it on my flat bench. So it really wasn't that bad. It does, when you set it on here, it has a little rack to it, but it's also hitting different parts of the bulge, which those aren't exact. I guess hindsight, we would have built it a little bit different. I did use a pry bar and try to take some of the spring out of it, which I think I'm going to continue to do, holding this edge, you know, and kind of twisting the whole thing with a big long bar. I've got to find a place that I can clamp it down and do that efficiently. Either that or just weld it right to the bench and try to take some of that spring out of it. I don't know, what I think would happen if we tried to smash these down. Well, now that it's welded, it might, I would think if it wasn't welded, we tried to smash these down, it would want to open the radius back up. So I don't think I'm going to try that because we're really, really close. It's just got a little bit of spring in it right there. And if I can just take a little bit of this twist out of it, I think we'll be okay. I'm going to try to clamp it down and twist it with a pry bar again to get just that little bit extra. Get that little crisscross out of there. The system we're going to use to fasten it down here, whichever ones it may be, probably these two outer ones, because my thought is, like I say, we'll just end up running these across. We'll drill. Hopefully we can hit the center here. Put in a nutsert, drill this out, probably drill this bigger than what we need. and stick a bolt straight down through there, which will essentially draw this right down, and we'll probably mock the rest of it up here just on the four-wheeler itself. Yeah, it's super close. I think we're cooking now. So we'll stick a piece there. We'll have another piece here. We'll drill our holes, bolts and washers, you know, probably 4 of them. That'll be a little bit overkill. And then the thing that's going to be fiddly is because we have to stick, you know, some pieces, you know, there'll be pieces sticking up however high they're, you know, they'll be. These are just scraps that I have. Hopefully you guys are starting to see the vision here. You know, we'll probably go higher than that. It's not going to be a very big basket on the front, but it'll be a basket. Probably could just built one out of some plywood. Let's be honest. We can't go back anymore. We're just going to go straight up, higher than this. And I was going to say the part that's going to be fiddly is the expanded metal. Depending on how we do that. With the holes and the bolts, I don't know if we're going to lay it right over the top. We'll get the framework done, and then we'll figure out how we're going to do the rest of this stuff. But that's what I'm thinking, folks. I'm going to take the other frame, we're going to cut it, I'm going to weld it just like this one, kind of try to get some of the tweak out of it. And then once we're satisfied, we'll give it a full zip around there. Dimensionally, they look the same. They're not going to sit perfect on top of each other because of the bulges. I think we've discussed this. I did, however, go and tweak this one a little bit. You know, the big lock, big pry bar just kind of took a little bit, just kind of average out here across. Granted, this one will be setting, you know, setting up on. You know, like that. So the bulges don't really matter. As long as it's not tweaked heavily, that one's pretty good. So we'll save this one. That's our top. We'll stick this one back on there. Let's go measure out where we need to stick these cross pieces that are going to go across there. We'll get them marked and cut. We'll just mark them underneath with the soapstone there and get them cut. The easiest way to do this was to go on Amazon and spend the $119 or whatever it costs for one. But this one here, guaranteed to fit. Or at least get really, really close. Flip that over. Chop it off. Beautiful. So that should work. I think it would probably be best at this point to just go ahead and weld the bottom. I can't see any reason why we can't. It fits well. It fits perfect, like it was made for it. And we'll get this welded, and then we'll determine how much height we want. And we may have to put in some of the expanded metal, because see, the bolts are going to go here. I suppose in the expanded metal. So, in case you're not familiar, this is what expanded metal is, okay? So that's going here. I'm just thinking, and this expanded metal is probably, it's way heavier than what we need. This stuff is the really thick stuff. So it's quite rigid. I'm not sure how we'll do that quite yet, if we'll just lay it over top of it, but then we've got our standoffs where we would have to notch it out, and we still have to put it around the sides also. So I'm gonna have to give that some thought, some consideration. Kind of nice if we had a plan, but we don't. We just kind of make things up as we go. Well, that looks like all of it. So this is what I'm thinking expanded metal wise, to give us the most options. Now like I say, this stuff's pretty heavy duty. I've trimmed it to what I think we need with a little bit of force fitting here. We'll have to a few little burrs on it. But I'm thinking we'll just fit individual panels. So there's only 3 essentially down here on the bottom. The top piece here we might do something different with. I'll mess with this a little bit. It's kind of odd angles and stuff. But this is what I'm thinking, then, you know, let's go along and tack it. That'll allow us a flat surface to put our bolt and washer on to bolt it down. Unless you guys got a better idea. Granted, we could have just laid it on the top, tacked it, notched out where we're going to put the bolt, or just stick the bolt and washer on top, but I don't know. Got nothing but time, folks. I think this is how I want to do it. I think it'll look neat once it's done and painted. It'll definitely, I think it'll look pretty cool. And let's just play with the welder more, which is fun. It's like the metal hot glue gun. There, just knocked it right out. Had it almost perfect, knocked it right out. There, not too bad. So that's what that'll look like. Got a few little gaps to fill here. I didn't realize that I cut that wrong until now. I don't think anything's gonna fall out that little hole. That won't fall out these holes. So I think we'll be okay. So now that we've got all the wire, or expanded metal wire mesh, expanded metal in there, I cut myself, I decided 4 inches was about it. It gives us a total, you know, height in there of about 5 inches. So I cut 6 of these pieces here, 4 inches long. I was thinking something like this here. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Then we'll set this on there. Of course, we'll have these squared up and such. I'm just going to tack them. I'm going to try to square them. I got my little magnets out here. Kind of square them up with those initially, but only tack them. I think I want to tack them just on the edges here, just one tack here in case we got to tweak them in and out. I'm not so much worried if they're perfectly plumb, you know, this way. But I think if we have any errors, it's going to need to kind of, you know, tip in and out a little bit. So we'll maybe just 2 tacks, give us a little bit of adjustment there. But that's my plan. I don't see any reason why we can or we shouldn't. And that would make a nice basket to put your stuff in. So we're just going to line it up with our little cross pieces here. Of course, when you tack things, you know, as the weld cools, they move. So get it kind of flush and lined up, just eyeballing it. Seems good. We'll put one little tack in the corner here. Got the ground on there. All right. We'll just leave 1 tack for now. It should be pretty dang close, I would think. It's always going to pull towards the weld, like say when that weld cools and they move a little bit, you know. But I think for this purpose, it's probably not going to matter. So we'll just do the 4 outlines. See how close we are. Yeah, that one's way off because must be my square was sitting up on the bumper. So I'll have to break that one off. Do that one a little different. I could just see that that one was out of square just for, you know, it wasn't sitting there plumb rather. We'll just use this here. Because of the little humps, I didn't notice it. Must be my magnet was sitting on it. So I'll just hold it on this little square here. Kind of stick it where it needs to be. Unfortunately, cutting them with the chop saw doesn't make them very square on the bottom. So I'll just and I don't think we're gonna have to take any twist out of it, because now that all the pieces are on, it's really not too bad. Nothing we can't fill with a MIG welder anyways. Okay. I'm surprised it lines up as well as it does. I think what I'll do is I'll tack one side. I'll make sure we're good left to right, which we seem pretty decent. I got to tweak them just barely. I think we'll kind of start with one and then tack it, and then maybe tack it again so it doesn't fall off, because they're kind of vulnerable right now. Maybe kind of tap them around, but I can't see any reason why we shouldn't. So let's start on that, I guess. If we're good. We're good that way. I think we feel pretty good all the way around. Okay, let's do this. Miss. First try. Yeah, so the old weld's really pulled it right up there. Pulled a big old gap. So let's do this. Look how much just welded on that outside lifted this whole thing right up. You know, we'll be able to pull it down. I think I got some big vice grips we could stick on there. Not gonna take a lot, but just enough to kind of hold that down like that. Maybe just a little bit more there. There we go. I'll do that. I'll do this one, and then we'll move the vice grips down. Everything's sitting really nice. Made you flinch. Let's see. There. That's how the pros do it. The other thing you have to be careful of too, and I'm no metal fabricator by any stretch of the imagination, but I've done little projects like this, and if you got everything all tacked and then you go to start welding it, if your tacks aren't good and you start welding all along this side and all of a sudden you hear them start popping, you know, bink, as things are cooling down over here, and it's really amazing how much the MIG welder will move stuff. See, is this the one that we straightened out? Yeah, no, this one's quite a ways off. Is this the one we straightened? Oh, look at that, that might be perfect. Oh, there you go. I was just looking at this one in comparison to where it lands on this weld in reference to the one over there. think what we'll do is before we weld them solid, we'll just have a look to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing, you know. I think it looks okay. Set up on here. I don't think there's any reason that we can't make it permanent. We'll set up on there, pretend we're driving. I think it'll be okay. Not too high. Handlebars don't hit it. I think everything will be good. I think it's a good time to fry it all together. All right, here goes nothing. Almost. All right, here goes nothing. Ah, crap, ain't that the way it works? I think we're out of wire. She's empty. And I don't have any more wire. Perfect planning for a project, right? All I have, I've got some 035 that we run in our other welder. So we'll just, which will be fine for what we're doing. So I think, I was just trying to get a look on it, see what I think I like. I don't know if I want it right out at the end or in the middle. I think I kind of like the way it looks. Splitting the difference, you know, putting it in the middle. I don't know. I don't know what I like. I think I like it in the middle. Does that make it more difficult? It's going to be kind of a kind of sucky to run around these edges anyway with the bulges in them. Oh. We'll probably end up putting it in there. Man, maybe we will go on the outside, or you know, just on the outside edge. It might be a little easier when it comes to this part as far as tacking it, you know, kind of heating it, trimming it, bending it as we go. All right, it's final. My final answer. So I'm gonna work on this. They're all just 4-inch wide pieces, a little bit fiddly. I'm just gonna kind of hold it right on the edge. I'll tack it and then kind of hammer it down as we need to get it to fit perfect. It's just little nuances here that making that one fit. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's the plan from here on out. Probably won't bore you guys with that process because you get the gist. It's just a matter of cutting these strips with what we have, making sure our diamond shapes are all going the right way so it looks somewhat uniform. But there's going to be some irregularities to it as it goes around with the diamond shape, just because I'm going to use what I have, and it'll be what it'll be. So I think that's how we'll do the corners. Seems like it's gonna work. I screwed up a little bit though. So it has a profile, so when the metal's sliced and then it's stretched, it has a profile of which direction it runs. The piece on the front, I don't even have to tell you this, but somebody might see it. I've got the pattern running a different way. It is what it is. I'm not gonna take it back off just to change something that silly. Should have measured how long that one was. Okay, this one's long enough. We can do this corner here. You know what I mean? So this one's going this direction and this one's going that direction. You'll probably never be able to tell. Now you will, because I told you, but what we'll do is we'll just leave this as the oddball. It'll kind of look like we did it that way on purpose. But I didn't. I meant nothing by it. There we are, folks, finished project. Minus knocking a couple holes in it and bolting it down. I think we did an okay job. It's not the prettiest, but it'll serve its purpose. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you can leave some comments of what you would have done differently. I'm always open to suggestions. Like I say, this is not my forte by any stretch of the imagination. We can kind of do okay at it. My plan is to build this one first because I want to make something for the back, perhaps something a little bit bigger. than this, but we had to have something to put things in, because I do know from owning ATVs in the past, it's always a pain in the neck to, you know, not have like a basket, you know, to put stuff in, because you're riding around and things are falling off, or you're trying to hang on to on your lap. But I guess that's it. Hole here, here and here, 4 holes, bolt her down, call it a day. That's it, folks. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully maybe it inspires you to go build one, or maybe just spend $100 and buy one. It certainly took some time, and bending up that tubing, there was a little bit of a learning curve there to get it to kind of tweak. I remember the last project I did with it, when I bent it, you know, each side of it was quite a bit longer, and it was quite a bit easier to manipulate. You know, you could lock it in the vise, kind of tweak it back where you needed it. These being shorter pieces made that a little bit more difficult. And, you know, welding it all together and having a twist and stuff in it certainly had its challenges, but I'm pretty satisfied the way it came out. We'll put the paint on there so thick you won't even be able to tell. So that's it. Anyhow, questions, comments, put them down there, folks. Subscribe, you know what to do. And we'll see you guys on the next video.